Guys, I had a revelation. I used to just be some silly daredevil, roaming through space. I would hunt where I could or help defend my alliance from anyone who came near us. And through years of practice and careful study of Eve's core gameplay, I began to wear my victories like some badge or accomplishment. But over time, things have changed. And as I tried to ignore the prophecy of the game's inevitable Armageddon, my hubris blinded me to the succubus on my wallet. I realized that the true fiend wasn't the ship I was flying, but the developers who made me a magnet to in-game purchases. With the recent addition of Nanocore Integration, the rattlesnake's poison has finally taken hold, and while I hate to be a harbinger of doom and gloom, I do see these changes as an omen of the nightmare yet to come. Now I know the whales are seeing these patch notes and getting hard as a rock, ready to swipe their cards and be the bane of our existence. But for an average player, I just wonder, how can you justify this constant monetization? I guess what I'm really trying to get at is that I accept donations of in-game ships, modules, ISK. You can contract things to me at Growmeyer. My ID is 1001. Hey, get a pencil, you need this. 1001. Hello pilots, and welcome back to another Eve Echoes video. Today, I'm taking a break from my usual PvP shenanigans because I need to talk about something that has really bothered me with the most recent patch. On February 4th, Netease released Nanocore Integration, which most longtime players will recognize as a similar experience to rig integration, with a few small but very important differences. When the patch notes came out the day before, we all started speculating what this feature could mean, and I think the general consensus was excitement. This seemed like a system where pilots could really customize their chosen ship to fit their personal playstyle, and that's something that I believe does need to be added to the game to bring more variety and unpredictability to our experience. So naturally, I was looking forward to hopping on Wednesday morning to check out the new system and see what fun combinations I could come up with, until I saw the price tag. Let's back up a bit to a few months ago when Netease released a feature that would allow nanocores to be uploaded to a nanocore database, therefore giving players the ability to switch nanocores no matter what station they were docked in, and not have to worry about moving their expensive assets through dangerous space. This was a much-needed quality of life addition that was praised upon its release, as we all love quality of life improvements. The only problem, though, was that to access this feature you could not just have Basic Omega, the $5 monthly payment, or even Standard Omega, the $10 monthly payment. This feature requires players to have Dual Omega subscription, which is a combination of Basic and Standard for $15 a month. Now feel free to correct me wrong in the comments, but I believe that this marked the first time in the game's history where a quality of life feature was locked out to exclusively $15 Dual Omega subscribers. Until this point, every ship, module, nanocore, rig, chat feature, etc. could be accessed by simply paying for the $5 monthly Basic Omega. But no biggie, it's just a quality of life feature, right? There's no real competitive advantage players can gain from uploading their nanocores, so the extra fee was either paid by those already subscribing as Dual Omega or completely ignored by those who didn't. Now let's fast forward to February 4th with Nanocore Integration and all the excited players ready to test it out, only to realize you have to upload the nanocore to do it. That's right, this feature is locked behind a paywall, because you can only even touch it if you pay that extra $10 per month over Basic Omega. Nanocore Integration has not only continued this trend of locking content behind Dual Omega for subscribers, but even worse, this feature literally gives people who can use it a competitive advantage in the game. Now real quick, for transparency's sake, I have to mention that yes, Eve Echoes does allow you to use their in-game currency, ISK, to purchase Basic, Standard, or Dual Omega. So those players who are already making bank of that ISK in-game won't really be fazed by this at all. However, for the average player, going from having to pay 170 plex to 600 plex per month will require more time, effort, and possibly even card swipes if they aren't capable of farming quickly enough, lucky enough with item drops, or heck, if they even happen to lose their ship to a wandering PvPer like myself. Sorry ahead of time. So why is this Nanocore integration worse than simply uploading the nanocores? Well, you see, the more nanocores you upgrade and the more you integrate, the stronger your primary core will become. This will have a small impact on performance at first, but over time those percentages will start to stack up. And that's not even counting the possibility of having more than one special ability at your disposal, such as the Dragon Chance damage boost, plus the Astral Cat's defensive boost. Don't yell at me if that doesn't work. I haven't even tried, it's just an example, okay? Lay off. This screenshot has been circulating through a couple of the discords that I'm part of, and it's a good example of what someone has done with a super carrier and integrating 3 of the same fully developed nanocores together. Check out that DPS. And as it says in the picture, this is just scratching the surface. To put it in perspective, the average 10 billion ISK Navy battleship has about 400,000 total HP, counting resists. So yeah, that's a one-shot for sure. But that's a super carrier, so obviously it's an extreme example. Where was I? Alright, competitive advantage. I will be the first to admit that yes, I have spent real money on this game, other than the monthly subscription. My most used ship, the Fiend, has the Dragon Chant Nanocore, which I paid probably, I think it was about $35 back when it first came out. Since then, I've been gifted a Science C by a good friend. I traded it for an Archon plus ISK, then I sold the Archon, then I paid more real money for another Science C, sold that as well, all in an effort to fully upgrade the Nanocore for this one single cruiser. In total, I've probably spent at least $200 over the last couple of years making this my true space baby. And I'm just a filthy casual. Just for a visual, let's look at the difference in my Fiend stats with the Nanocore that's fully upgraded and without the Nanocore. And I think it's pretty safe to say that nobody should want to go up against somebody else with that level of disadvantage. It's pretty much a no-win scenario. Now at first you may not see that $15 price tag as something scary. People have been paying $15 monthly for games since, I don't know, EverQuest 1? Yes, I'm that old, it's as far back as I can remember. So let's say you give in and you start paying that higher price tag so you can start integration and building up your... Oh wait, you do have a second Nanocore, don't you? No? Okay, that will be $50 on the in-game shop. Minimum. No worries, you can earn the free Nanocore from the Conquered Pass shop. It's a little bit less strong, but... Oh wait, that's $10 monthly subscription as well for the Conquered Pass. That's okay, there's useful stuff in there for the Battle Pass. I mean, now you're paying $25 per month plus $50 per Nanocore, but yeah, you need upgrade materials still in order to upgrade these Nanocores. And yeah, I'm not doing that math anymore. And that's just for a cruiser-sized ship, something that I could actually argue is pretty much useless in the meta of this game going forward. Especially compared to Netease's golden child, the Capital, where prices for nanocores and upgrade materials skyrocket into divorce papers. That's the running joke. What's cheaper, getting a super carrier and an upgraded nanocore for it, or lawyer fees for a divorce? Yeah, I'm not testing that. You know, the developers recently put out a survey for players, and one of the questions was, what was your favorite new feature from 2025? I looked at that list, and not only could I not pick any additions that I actually enjoyed, some of them I didn't even know what they were, which shows you how much of an addition they actually were to the game. Not much. A whole year of content pushed out behind roulette wheels, chance boxes, lucky draws, and top-up rewards should not count as events. So my point with all this background and summarization is this: where do we draw the line? Netease is not just charging players for items to make their ships stronger, or even charging for stronger ships altogether, which we seem to have become numb to as a player base at this point. Now we are upping the monthly price to play the game, and I believe that this is going to be their overall monetization strategy starting in 2026 and going forward. You want more exploration content? well, here's a new feature for explorers, but uh-oh, the module only works for Duo Omega players. Finally got yourself a carrier and you want to run that capital ship quarry? Just go through the warp gate and you're in. Well, if you're Duo Omega, of course. Ship naming, station containers, cosmetic effects, upgrades, new ships, higher tech level, all these things that we've been asking for, Netease is probably willing to bet that you won't mind the extra cost to get them. And look, I get that this is not a free-to-play game, and that there are players willing and ready to drop thousands of dollars on digital pay-to-win bling. My question to the current player base is this: what is all of our Omega, Conquered Pass, and item shop money actually being invested into, when all the new content that's being pushed out and released requires for us to pay for as well? The game is not coming up with new game modes for us to take part in. It's not coming up with arena matches or hireable NPCs, or enhancing the new player experience, or even advertising for the game in general. We haven't seen any of this stuff. And as for the new players who just started playing, or the ones that happen to watch this video while they have the App Store open ready to dive in, please do your best not to get sucked into FOMO spending. There are ways to enjoy EVE Echoes without spending your life away. It is very easy to see others with a maxed out Nanocore, or a massive super capital ship, or 4 accounts multi-boxing all at the same time, and say, gosh, man, if I just opened up my wallet, if I just swiped that credit card, I could be just like them. But that's part of the trap. Netease wants you to need these things in order to feel relevant, in order to think that you're having fun. And I can tell you from personal experience, it is very hard to resist the temptation of the credit card swipe when that loss to a wallet warrior finally happens. Now I hope that the line will be drawn here, that this is just a one-off for the developers and future enhancements of the game won't be locked behind Duo Omega. I worry, however, that this is a sign that we have finally turned that dreaded corner, and corporate greed is standing there with its hands out, ready to milk us to the very end. Time will tell, as they say, and 2026 has just begun. But don't say I didn't warn you. Until then, pilots, fly safe and have fun.